Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. So as I told you on the WhatsApp group, I'm recording this video to explain to you a little bit about the way we solve the comprehension questions in the midterm review sheet, which is almost similar to the midterm test. Okay, so here, as we read, we have a myth story about Athena and Arachne. Athena is the goddess of weaving, and Arachne is a mortal, is a human that's also talented in weaving. And we saw that they had a conflict in which they went through a contest to show their skills, and Athena didn't accept the way Arachne disrespected her, and at the end, Athena turned Arachne to a spider in which she can punish Arachne, and at the same time, Arachne would keep performing her talent, which she adores the most. So the first question here is to pick one figure of speech from a specific paragraph. So mainly in the test, I'm going to refer to you to the paragraph in which you need to find the answer. So if we go back to paragraph number 3, we have Arachne was as vain as she was talented. Here you have the answer key, which is also uploaded on the Padlet. So we say this is a simile. So when I ask you this question in the midterm, you need to remember that we studied two main figures of speech, simile and metaphor. And we need to know, based on studying this, that a simile is a comparison between two things showing similarity, common characteristics between two things using words as or like. Metaphor is also a comparison showing similarity between two things, but without using as or like. So here we're showing the similarity between how Arachne is vain and also how she's talented. So she is as vain as she's talented. And we're using the word as, and that's how we know that this is a simile. Okay, so she's both extremely vain and extremely talented. Now we go to question number 2. Suggest another title for the text. The important skill that you need to have or acquire to solve this question is to know that when I want to give my own title of a specific text, I need to know the main idea of the text. So this title should reflect the main idea of the text. Here, I put several titles, which you guys, students in class, suggested. Some of you gave me titles, and I told them for this title, you would get a partial grade, half the grade. Why? Because it does not clearly or accurately reflect the main idea of the whole text. So for example, some students said the Greek gods, but then I told them that this text isn't only about gods, but also mortals, or a conflict between a goddess and a human being. That's why we wrote the Greek gods and mortals, or the power of gods and humans, or the spinning spider. You can be creative. The weaving fight or the weaving contest, the maiden and the gods, the talent fight, a hard lesson. All these are options of titles, and for sure for this question, there is no one correct title. There is a correct answer in which you write a title, an appropriate title for this text. Now we move on to question number 3. I'm already telling you that this story is a myth. This is the genre which we studied in the reading lesson, which is Thunder Helper. So this is a myth. We already learned that every genre has features present in the text that shows me that this is the genre. So I ask you to provide 2, 3, 1, whatever number of features of this myth, and to support your answer with evidence. So, for example, the 2 features that show me this text is a myth about Athena and Arachne, that we have unreal or imaginary characters like Greek gods that have specific talents, like Athena, and the spider as a character here, turning the human into a spider. Also, this power of the god and the contest between the god and the human. All these events and these characteristics of the characters are made from humans' imagination. They are not real. So this is what makes this text a myth. You tell me the evidence. What is an evidence? It's evidence from the text that shows me or proves to me that this feature is present. So when I say imaginary characters, I give example, the Greek gods, Athena and the spider. When I say non-real events and powers, I give proof from the text. So I say turning humans into animals. Okay, that's what I call an evidence. Now, question number 4. I'm asking you to pick out from paragraph 3 one homophone to the word vein. So I go to paragraph 3. One homophone to the word vein is here, vein, V-A-I-N, and here vein is spelled V-A-N-E. And we know already that homophones are words that are written or spelled differently, and they have different meanings. However, they sound the same. They have a similar pronunciation. Then question number 5, referring to paragraph 4. Again, I'm specifying to which paragraph you have to refer. So as you can see, you do not have to look into all the paragraphs to find the answer. It's specified here. So referring to paragraph 4, describe how Athena hid herself when she went to meet Arachne. We go to paragraph 4. And here we have description of how Athena hid herself. So Athena disguised herself as an old lady. She covered herself to look like an old lady. She wore her hair gray and thinning, lined her face with wisdom of years because she's going to give Arachne an advice, and used a stick to walk. These are descriptions, sensory details found here. I found the answer and I write the answer in my own words. I find the answer in the paragraph and I write it using my own words. No need to copy and paste the answer word by word. I don't want you to copy the answer word by word, but to use your own words. Then we move to question number 6. There is this statement between the quotations. Arachne blushed when she realized to whom she was speaking, but she did not change her resolve. That's in paragraph 8. Now, if in the question you read statement and you quite forget in which context the statement was, you can refer to the paragraph to understand the statement and then explain it using your own words. So let's go back to paragraph number 8. Here, Arachne blushed when she realized to whom she was speaking, but she did not change her resolve. The contest began at once. Now, this is the only statement in this paragraph, so I can refer to the paragraphs before. We said that Athena disguised herself as an old lady and she went to visit Arachne and to give her an advice to apologize to Athena, which is in front of her. And face to face, Arachne said no, with also the same intonation of voice and with the same disrespect. So after that, the Arachne didn't accept it and she showed her real self. She showed that she's not really an old woman, she's the goddess herself. That's why Arachne blushed. She blushed when she knew that she was talking to the goddess herself. However, although she blushed, she did not change her resolve, her answer. Okay, so how can we answer this question? We can say Arachne felt embarrassed when she found out that the woman she was talking to is not an old lady, but the goddess herself. Maybe that's why she blushed. So that can be your explanation. However, they said she didn't change her resolve. So she didn't change her attitude. Why is that? Because she was confident of her abilities. So she stayed steadfast to her skills. So that's a possible answer. We understand the statement and we explain it using our own words. Question number 7, again, referring to paragraphs 10 and 11, you need to compare and contrast between the images that Athena and Arachne wove. Compare and contrast. So mainly describe showing similarities and differences. Now, for such a question, it's not necessary to be the same that you have to draw this diagram. The purpose of this question here is for you to describe or compare using characteristics, commonalities, or differences. Okay, so we go to the answer. For example, here, what's common between the images that Arachne and Athena wove? They're both talented and fast in weaving. Their drawings are flawless and beautiful. So here I'm describing. You need to know how to describe something. Let's look at the description of the differences. The images of Athena, the goddess, she wove images showing the powers of gods against disrespectful humans, and clothes were used as a message to warn Arachne of her behaviors. Now looking at Arachne's images, Arachne wove images showing gods and goddesses doing foolish things. They were portrayed as feeble and reckless, weak, uncontrolled, and the clothes were full of scorn of gods and goddesses, full of disrespect. Okay, so again, we need to be able to describe and find characteristics. Then question number 8, if you were in Athena's shoes, which means in her place, in her position, would you respond similarly? Explain. So for such a question, here you need two things, based on the text, reading comprehension, what you understood, and your personal opinion. So if you were in her situation, so you need to refer to the text to know the situation and tell your personal opinion, how would you respond? So also for this question, there's no one common answer or one correct answer among all students. It may vary, however, you need to explain your position. I have here this statement. I told you first that answers may vary because, as I said, it's your personal opinion based on reading comprehension. A possible answer can be, if I were in Athena's place, I would not punish the mortals, the humans that die, in comparison to immortals that do not die. So I would not punish mortals with my selfishness for loving their talent and being confident about it. However, I would support them to improve their skills. So to write such an answer, you need to know first that Athena punished Arachne for loving her talent and that Athena was selfish. And these information are based on the text and your reading comprehension skills. After understanding this situation, you reflected and showed your opinion, whether you like or you would be behaving the same way Athena behaved, the goddess, when she punished Arachne or not. Similarly, question number 9, it's also an opinion question. Do you appeal to Arachne or Athena? Do you feel more that Arachne is on the correct side or Athena or Arachne? And do you believe that Athena's response must be excused as she is a goddess? So should we excuse Athena for her punishment because she's a goddess? So does being a goddess make her it's okay to do whatever she wants? So again, the answer may vary. A possible answer can be, I appeal to Arachne, not Athena, the mortal, not to the goddess. That's because Arachne didn't mean to displease or disrespect the goddess, but she was only trying to employ in her skills, which she is confident about. Loving oneself isn't a disrespect to others' selves. Athena does not have self-love. On the other hand, she has selfishness. Being a goddess does not excuse this foolishness. And most of you in class said that Athena was being foolish and you wouldn't like her behavior. Okay, now question number 10, based on the story that you read of Athena and Arachne's conflict, how do you think gods must display their power? So also a personal opinion. A possible answer can be, gods are all-knowing, powerful, and good. This includes characteristics that make them humble with the mortals. Gods must not use their power to punish innocent mortals, but they must be fair and forgiving. Now, questions like 8, 9, and 10, for sure, they won't be the same in the test. There will be reading comprehension questions, as I said, showing your understanding of the text, referring to the text, and maybe your opinion based on the topic of the text itself. Now we move on to question to part B, you will have such a table. You need to find out the characters and put them, the problem and the solution. Now here in the review sheet, I put some guiding questions to guide you to practice finding the problem and the solution. Now, who are the characters? We have Athena, the goddess, and Arachne, the talented mortal, and we can also say the spider, Arachne, which got turned into a spider. What's the problem? Athena believes that Arachne is disrespectful and must be punished for deciding to challenge the goddess of weaving. That was the main problem. That's why she went there and they had that contest. How was this conflict resolved? Did the Arachne, for example, accept the old lady's advice and apologize? No, she didn't. And they went into that contest. And at the end, Athena punished Arachne by turning her into a spider, where she would spend all her time spinning and weaving. Now part C, again, reading comprehension skill. You need to find whether the following statements are true or false. In such a part, the skill here you need to know is to refer to the text to find information, whether to complete a closed passage, to fill in the blanks, to complete a sentence, to tell whether the statement is true or false. So referring to the text. Okay, so here we have the first statement. Arachne was known for her skillful drawing. That's correct. When people said that Arachne was taught by Athena, Arachne blushed and felt honored. That's not correct, false. Although Arachne was vain, she claimed she would accept the consequence of losing to Athena. That's correct. Athena is an unmerciful goddess who does not give a chance to disrespectful mortals before punishing them. That's not correct, because she gave her a chance, and Arachne apologized to Athena and made her a nice dress as a sign of respect. That's not correct. Now part D in vocabulary. Vocabulary, they will be the same format. So you'll have a sentence in which you need to find the meaning of the word in the context. This word is also found and underlined in the text itself. So you have two contexts which you can refer to. The context of the sentence to find out the meaning of the word, and also the context of the reading text. So you find out the meaning and you choose the correct answer. And as I told you in class, and I'm telling you again for the students, in-class students and online students, we have these words, the vocabulary words, also underlined in the text. So as you can see here, the word gaze in paragraph 1 underlined already. Mocking, disguised, amends, and scorn, and incensed. These words are the vocabulary words which, as you saw, I asked you about in part D. However, what I recommend you do, what you must do, is that while reading the text, you would be already making sense of the text, making predictions, most importantly, and also understanding, figuring out the main idea of the text and the relationship between the paragraphs and the sentences and everything. That's why when you're reading, while reading, when you find a word underlined, you know directly in the test that this is a vocabulary word I'm asking you about at the end of the text, of the test, sorry. So what do you do? While reading, while understanding the paragraph and the sentence, try to figure out the meaning of the vocabulary word. Take notes, write what you understand in front of the word, so that in the question, when you want to solve the vocabulary question, you can refer back to the text and find the meaning easily instead of going back again and reading the paragraph again. Clear? So for example, the clothes she wove had such magnificent patterns and images that women came from all over the world to gaze upon them with wonder. So to gaze, to try, stare, or move, it is the correct answer here, it's to stare. She even went so far as to claim that her skills were superior to those of Athena, disrespectfully mocking the goddess by declaring, let the goddess try to match her skills against me. So mocking, insulting. disrespecting, talking in a disrespectful way. To give Arachne a chance to apologize for her boasting, Athena disguised herself as an old lady. She masked herself, covered herself. I'm sure Athena would pardon you if you made amends to her, amends, compensations, if you make something that compensates for your disrespect. Arachne's work was flawless and beautiful, but full of scorn for the gods and goddesses, full of disrespect. An example can be curse words, but scorn, full of disrespect for the gods and goddesses. Incensed at Arachne's disrespect, Athena ripped up Arachne's clothes. So ripped because of what? Because she was incensed at Arachne's disrespect. And be careful, incensed here with the C, not an S. So incensed, annoyed and angry. So she was angry, that's why she ripped the cloth. And that's how we find out the meaning of the vocabulary word from the context. Now, in regard to the grammar, you have to revise the questions and the skills we studied, the questions that we solved in the Grammar Practice Reproductibles book. Focus on adjectives and their types, focus on the types of sentences, compound and complex, the clauses, essential and non-essential, and how to correct or join sentences and all these skills, and also on the action verbs and the tenses and the subject-verb agreement. Okay, best of luck in your test. As I told you on the WhatsApp group, I'm most likely going to hold a Zoom meeting for about 30 minutes before the test for sure to check if you have any questions. And again, best of luck and have a nice day.